The Blue Jackets are back in the win column, and we've got Armando Velez here to talk all about the game against the Panthers. And was it as one-sided as the original stat sheet looked? We're talking about all of that and what the future is for these two teams on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to bring you news, stories, game previews, game recaps, excitement, yelling, ranting, all of the above and more about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and also over on YouTube. Now, like I said at the top of the show, we're going to be talking to Armando Velez today of Locked On Florida Panthers. We're going to break down the game, what we liked from the Blue Jackets, what we liked from the Panthers, what we didn't like, and also look at the future of these two teams kind of going forward in this season. So I'm just going to get right into my chat with Armando.
And welcome into this crossover edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast and the Locked On Columbus Blue Jackets podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers and Locked On Columbus Blue Jackets podcast your first listen of the day. For everyone on the Locked On Columbus Blue Jackets feed, let me introduce myself. My name is Armando Velez. You can follow me on Twitter at MondoMan12. Follow the show account on Twitter at LO_FLA Panthers. And thankful to be doing another crossover with the host of Locked On Columbus Blue Jackets, Jay Forster. Jay, great to be doing this again. Last time we did a crossover, it was a game where the Panthers just were on the other end of a very dominant game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, but now the tables have turned for this one.
Yeah, I don't know that this was a revenge game necessarily, but I feel like the last time these two teams played, I feel like the score was like 8-2 to the Panthers or something stupid like that. So it does feel good, especially, the goalie matchup. I don't know, it felt like a really good win, especially after the game against Detroit on Saturday, which the Blue Jackets just completely failed to show up for. So this felt good.
Well, we did not do I don't believe we did a crossover on the last matchup of the season where JF Berube was starting against Jonas Johansson for the Florida Panthers. We did not do a crossover then. But our most the last one we did was that where the third line for the Florida Panthers, Mason Marchment, Sam Reinhart, and Anton Lindell were just dominant in that game. That was back in February, so it's been a little while. But let's just go right into this game. I had to kind of decompress a little bit after Sunday night's game. Prior to the game, I mean, it was already a sad day for me knowing the news of Jason David Frank, aka the Green Ranger / White Ranger of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. And after last night's game, I decided to watch the movie and then decompress a little bit and gather more of my thoughts. But let's talk about the game. So the Florida Panthers really off to a very dominant start possession wise, and the Matthew Tkachuk just setting the record for the Florida Panthers in most points to start their tenure with the team, passing Pavel Bure now with 25 points in 17 games. He's averaging an assist per game, Matthew Tkachuk. But it's just for the Panthers continue to make mental mistakes after mental mistake. It's something for different every single time. The power play wasn't getting going early in the season. Now then the power play was getting going in the last 6 games. They did not score on the power play last night. But the one thing that Columbus Blue Jackets fans saw yesterday was the Stahl brothers continuing to just being a little bit of a detriment to this team. I mean, Mark Stahl on that bad turnover to Chinakhov for that goal that beats Sergei Bobrovsky 5-hole.
Yeah, that was, and I feel bad because the thing about Mark Stahl is he hasn't ever really been the same since he had that really bad eye injury. I think, God, it was probably like 10 years ago now, and he's just kind of been on a steady decline since then. Unfortunately, this game was vintage Mark Stahl. The giveaway to Chinakhov, and he also screened Bobrovsky on, I don't remember which goal it was, but there was a goal, and I watched it back and was like, oh yeah, that's a vintage Mark Stahl. I believe it was the second Boone Jenner goal, or that ended up being the first Boone Jenner goal. He got his first one taken away because it was actually Kent Johnson's goal. I actually liked Eric Stahl in this game. I thought correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's been playing up in the lineup, probably a little bit above where he should be based on just injuries. I know Sasha Barkov missed a game, and so, I think they had second line Eric Stahl for a little bit, which is a choice. But I liked him in this game. I've always liked Eric Stahl's game, and I'm happy that he is back in the NHL. But man, Mark Stahl was he had a rough outing in this game.
It was a little brutal for Mark Stahl. I mean, Eric Stahl really was placed on that second line really for one game when Sasha Barkov missed the game against the Dallas Stars. I mean, that was just the game where the Panthers just lost. That game was won and lost in the first period on that one, and Sergei Bobrovsky wasn't great in that one as well. And there was a time where the fourth line, which Paul Maurice really juggled the lines in this one. He did it with the defense core just a few games ago, and now he did it with the forward lines. I mean, we saw Nick Cousins. He was placed on that Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk line. We saw a little bit of Sam Reinhart and Sam Reinhart back on that top line with Alexander Barkov and Carter Verhaeghe. So Mark Stahl had a great opportunity right in front of the net to do a backhand on Tarasov and just missed the net. And it's just those chances that you have right in front of the net. It's just those opportunities that you really need to take advantage of. And really for the Panthers, I mean, 49 shots on goal for 50 is very deceiving, honestly, for the Panthers. I mean, they lead the league in shots on goal per game in the NHL, but there's a lot of muffins thrown for the Panthers. Too many perimeter shots and not a lot of opportunities to clean up pucks, and that for the Panthers. I mean, there's so many. There's JFresh Hockey has that stat of goals above expected, and the Panthers are last. But I've now I'm at the point now. How many times can we keep saying the Panthers are going to get their chances? They're going to get their goals. They're going to get their goals, and it just hasn't come. It's not the same team as last year, of course, when you lose the pieces like Claude Giroux, Mason Marchment, Mackenzie Weegar, Jonathan Huberdeau. But it's just for the Panthers. It's just we could talk about puck luck all we want, but it's the pucks are just not going in at times.
Yeah, for sure. And that was something that we kind of talked about a little bit before or immediately after the game, where I was like, man, I think it was 49 shots on goal, 46 saves for Daniil Tarasov, who I thought, regardless of the shot quality of the Panthers, I thought had a really good game.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But then, I went and looked at Natural Stat Trick, and of those 50 shots, they had 9 high danger chances of their 40 scoring chances. Like, that's just under 25%. So yeah, you can say quality over quantity all day long, but when you're scoring 3 goals on 50 shots and you have 9 high danger chances versus, the Blue Jackets, who had 14 scoring chances and 5 of them went in. It's
a third.
Obviously puck luck is there, but at a certain point, yeah, it does. I wouldn't say it worries me, because I don't really have any investment into whether the Panthers win games or not, but it's a worrying trend. And it's something that I think might be kind of endemic of Paul Maurice. Harrison Lee of Locked On Jets has had many things to say about Paul Maurice over the years. And I think the Panthers came from a situation where, say what you like about Joel Quenneville and his, the legacy that he's left on this league. He did well with the Panthers. His replacement, Andrew Brunette, also did very well with the Panthers, and then instead of keeping a good thing going, I think they kind of panicked a little bit, losing in the second round to the Lightning in the most recent playoffs. And I think the Paul Maurice hiring was, I don't want to say a mistake, because it's 18 games into the season. Like, it's so hard to say, oh, this coaching decision was bad, but you can see flashes of the Winnipeg Jets struggles in the Florida Panthers, which I think is not ideal.
Yeah, and with Paul Maurice, it really goes down to three things for the Panthers as part of their major problems right now for the team. Stahl brothers, Sergei Bobrovsky, who's 25 of 34 in his last two games, who got pulled in the first period against the Dallas Stars. Pulled in after the first intermission. And Paul Maurice, because when one thing is getting going, the other is not for this Panthers team. So it's always something a little different for this team. Something that honestly I'm not used to in the last few years for this Panthers team. So we knew this was a step back season for the Cats, but I wasn't expecting around 500 for this team. As now their goal differential for the season is right at 0, just outside of a playoff spot, right before the first benchmark of the NHL season, American Thanksgiving. But let's transition over to the next segment, where we'll continue talking about this 5-3 win for the Columbus Blue Jackets over the Florida Panthers. But first, Jay, tell us all about SimpliSafe.
Yeah, so did you know that over the holidays, property crimes like burglaries and package thefts spike nationally? I know. Host of Locked On Canadian, Scott Matler, had a package stolen recently, and he had doorbell cameras, and they ended up seeing who got it. So home security is really, really important. And our friends over at SimpliSafe Home Security are offering 50% off their award-winning security system so that you can feel safe and secure this holiday season. Enjoy advanced security and greater peace of mind this season. SimpliSafe is a really great product. They have got 24/7 monitoring, 24/7 tech support staff. They've got HD live stream of all of the cameras that you could imagine. You can put cameras inside, outside, and they've even got smart technology that lets you know whether it's like an actual break-in or whether it's like just a possum going through your trash cans. SimpliSafe was even named the best home security system of 2022 by US News and World Report for the third year in a row. So don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system that this podcast network recommends. Get 50% off any new SimpliSafe system at simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl today. This is their biggest discount of the year, so do not wait. Once again, that is simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Thank you once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast and Locked On Columbus Blue Jackets podcast your first listen of the day. I'm Armando Velez. I got Jay Forster of Locked On Blue Jackets to discuss this 5-3 win for the Columbus Blue Jackets over the Florida Panthers. So, Jay, we continued the conversation on this win for Columbus, and we talked about the high danger chances. And it's funny because the only two goals that the Florida Panthers had were just on really breakdowns by the Jackets. I mean, the Panthers avoided icing, and the Blue Jackets were unable to clear the zone, and then Forsling just a slap shot and Matthew Tkachuk deflects the puck into the net past Tarasov, and then Aaron Ekblad going untouched right in front of the net to beat Tarasov 5-hole as he crashes in. And when you think about all that with the Panthers and just their inability to just continue to get right on the blue paint in the low slot, it just tells me. I mean, with Tarasov, I mean, I was looking at how many games he's played. Last night
This
was
is his
only
like 7th NHL game or something stupid.
10.
Like
I saw 10. So
yeah.
and it was a 3.55 GAA too. I was just like, wow. It's just it's not. I always ask myself, is it the goalies performing well for the Blue Jackets, or is it the Panthers not generating enough chances. And I think it's the latter for the Panthers as far as how I see it. But the straw that broke the camel's back was just the shorthanded goal. That was their first shorthanded goal given up this season, at least from what I recall as well. And let's talk about the injuries as well for Columbus. Like what's going on with them? I mean, everything on paper for me going into this said that the Florida Panthers should have come into Columbus and win this game. Patrick Laine is out. Zach Werenski's out long term. Elvis Merzlikins is out as well. So everything on paper said that the Florida Panthers should have won this game, but just once again, it goes back on the coach on how, and even with the second end of a back-to-back, Columbus was on the second end of a back-to-back too. So no excuses for the Panthers to lose this game, especially after an emotional game the night before, where Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar were making their returns to Sunrise, Florida.
Yeah, it's weird. The Blue Jackets just keep losing guys to injury. I haven't done the math in a while, but the last time I checked, the average experience for the Blue Jackets defense core, so average career games, was sitting at about 180 games per defenseman. They have 2 defensemen currently that are over 200 NHL games played. Like I said, Zach Werenski's out long term. Jake Bean is out long term. Nick Blankenburg is out probably for another 6 to 8 weeks. Adam Boquist is out probably for another 6 weeks or so. And that's just the defenseman. The Blue Jackets have used 11 defensemen so far this season, and it's game 18. And the weird thing is, they're not playing good hockey at the minute. They are, and they're not playing good hockey, but they are somehow winning games. I believe in their last 6, they're 4-1-1. That only loss coming to Detroit, which, sure, if you're going to lose to anyone, why not lose to Detroit and then come out and beat the Panthers the next day? It makes absolutely no sense. The Blue Jackets are doing a thing that they used to do under John Tortorella a lot, which is they become more than the sum of their parts. You look at, and then, you talk about the defensive injuries, and then you get onto the forward injuries. Patrick Laine is out. Jacob Voracek is out. Johnny Gaudreau is basically the only healthy top 6 forward right now that the Blue Jackets have. And I mean, he had a pretty solid night, a goal and 2 assists, which I think means that he wins the bet that I'm sure he had with Matthew Tkachuk on tonight's game. Obviously, long time teammates who both went elsewhere this summer. But the Blue Jackets they're rallying through adversity. And this is a thing that they've done the past couple of seasons. When things get tough, they should, by all accounts, be losing every game and losing badly. Somehow they're pulling out a win. If you told me that they were going to put 5 goals past Sergei Bobrovsky last night, I would be like, yeah, okay, but the Panthers are probably going to score 6. It's just, for whatever reason, things are clicking, whether that's the youth that's getting more ice time. Kent Johnson had a goal, a power play goal as well, which was extremely unexpected, because I believe that's only the Blue Jackets' 5th power play goal this season. They've almost got as many shorthanded goals as they do power play goals. I believe that they scored their 3rd shorthanded goal of the season last night, and they have 5 power play goals total. So, on paper, like you say, the Panthers should have walked into Columbus, taken their lunch money, and just walked right back out. But sometimes hockey's a weird sport, and this is not to say that the Blue Jackets were the better team in this by any stretch of the imagination, because there were long periods of that game where I was just waiting for the Blue Jackets to screw up and just fall apart, because that's what they've done a lot this season. But there were the things I didn't like in that game. I don't have time for whatever nonsense that Mathieu Olivier keeps trying to pull. I don't have any time for Erica Branson taking stupid penalties or failing to clear the crease ever. Like the Matthew Tkachuk goal, he was just basically standing in front of Tarasov, no one else around him. Aaron Ekblad as well scored from about 6 feet away. I don't recall who scored the 3rd goal, but again, it felt like I don't know. It was, the Blue Jackets are not doing anything right at the minute except winning games, and it's a very strange way to watch your team win games. You know, like if they were playing badly and losing, I'd be like, okay, fine, this is expected. If they were playing well and winning, I'd be like, okay, fine. Sometimes teams play well and lose, but it's very, very rare, in my opinion, that a team plays badly and still wins games. And somehow that's what the Blue Jackets are doing right now, which is very strange.
Yeah. And for and even though the Panthers have just been as inconsistent as they've been in their last 5 games, 1-3-1 currently, I'm still not. There's a lot of takes out there for this team. A lot of people are just trying to say fire Paul Maurice. I'm not on that. I'm not on that bandwagon yet for this team. I still think at the end of the day that the Panthers are going to find a way to figure it out. And the fact that outside of the Dallas game and this one, that the Panthers, even when they fall behind, they still make it close and they still are in most games. I want to think that this is just a bad stretch for the Panthers. I want to think that, but it doesn't get easier, and we'll talk about really on the third segment about what's coming for the Panthers. But also I think about really where the Blue Jackets are. I mean, last year they overachieved big time after that trade of Seth Jones really said, okay, they're going into a rebuild. Of course, trading Pierre-Luc Dubois for Patrick Laine, even though it's worked better for the Blue Jackets than it has for the Winnipeg Jets as far as individual performances. But then the Blue Jackets at the beginning of this season is like, oh, it might be a year later than they were expecting to possibly be in the top 5, maybe in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. I mean, Connor Bedard with Patrick Laine, Johnny Gaudreau, Boone Jenner.
That's what I want. That is what I would like to see. I think we deserve it, but
that sounds so much fun. And honestly, I don't know necessarily how the players feel about Brad Larson as well. But it seems that this could be, if they end up being with that top pick, that this could be actually a really great situation for Columbus.
yeah, I mean, if there's a season that you're going to be unexpectedly bad, like it might as well be this season, because even if you don't get Connor Bedard, you know, you've got Adam Fantilli, who's doing just insane things at University of Michigan at the minute. You've got Matvei Michkov, who's killing it in Russia. You've got Leo Carlson, who, again, is doing things that no other Swedish draft-eligible prospect is doing right now. You know, there's something like, I think there's 8 prospects at the minute that in any year that isn't this one would go first overall. But Connor Bedard is just blowing them all out of the water. So it's very much a case of, even if you miss that draft lottery position, like I would love to get Connor Bedard on this team, but even if you don't, like there's 6 or 7 other guys that could change the way that this team looks very, very quickly. And I've seen a lot of, I haven't addressed this on the show yet because, quite frankly, I don't think I need to, but I see a lot of people talking about Johnny Gaudreau and saying, man, he should have gone to Jersey. I bet he wishes he'd gone to Jersey right now. Or I bet he wishes he'd stayed in Calgary or gone literally anywhere else. Like, no, shut up. He has very recently gone on record of being like, yeah, I wouldn't change this decision for the world. And I understand that, like, do they expect him to come out and be like, actually, I hate this. I wish I had signed elsewhere. Like, no. So even if he doesn't fully believe that he doesn't have any regrets, like, he's here. He's here long term. He's succeeding here. He had 3 points last night. He's happy here. Like, he chose Columbus for a reason, and that reason wasn't that the Blue Jackets are going to win the cup. You know, he's gone on record as being like, this is a really great city. This is a team atmosphere that I really like. This is a really great place to raise my family. It's close enough to home where they're not going to be knocking down the doors like they would be if he signed in New Jersey or Philly or, you know, anywhere in that kind of New York metro area. Like, this is where he wanted to be. And for better or worse, yeah, the season maybe hasn't gone as expected yet. But Johnny Gaudreau, I think, has, I want to say, 17 points in the season so far, which is just under a point per game. Like, I have no complaints about Johnny Gaudreau, and I don't think any Blue Jackets fan should. And I think any Devils fan or Flyers fan or Flames fan out there that's like, man, Johnny Gaudreau should have gone somewhere else. Like, no, this is what it is. And I couldn't be happier that Johnny Gaudreau is here. Am I disappointed at how the season has gone so far? A little bit, yes. But like I said, if there's going to be a season to be unexpectedly bad, it's this one. And also, it's not like, sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I don't expect the rest of the season to be as bad as this start has. I think the Blue Jackets are kind of starting to find their way. And also, like, the injuries are just relentless.
Yes.
Like, that's the other thing. The Blue Jackets were bad before all the injuries started happening. Like, they didn't have a very good start to the season. They embarrassed themselves in Tampere, and then everyone started getting hurt. So it is what it is. It sucks. I hate to watch the team lose. You know, it's way more fun to watch your team win. But this is what the team is. And if they have to suck this year and get Connor Bedard, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, long term for the Blue Jackets looks to be good if they do end up being especially in that top 5. So Johnny Gaudreau, just checking the stats for him, 18 points in 18 games, seven goals, 11 assists. So point per game, that's a pretty productive NHL player, that's for sure. But we're going to transition over to segment number 3, where we're going to talk about what's to come for both the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Florida Panthers this week before the first major benchmark of the NHL season. But first, we're going to tell you all about BetOnline. And betonline.net is still your number one source for sports betting info, news, and analysis. Get all the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball, soccer, and esports. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love podcasts, you can find these at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to getting your betting fix. Head to the website today or use mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Third and final segment here on this crossover edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast and the Locked On Columbus Blue Jackets podcast. I'm Armando Velez. I got Jay Forster of Locked On Blue Jackets here. So for the Panthers, it doesn't get any easier for them because 2 days off, which is they've had a lot of these lately. They had it really at the beginning of the month, and then they're having it here, and then they have 2 days off again right before their game on Saturday. But they welcome in the big bad Boston Bruins, a team that a lot of people were expecting to not be like a bubble playoff team, possibly maybe even out of it. But they were playing well even prior to Brad Marchand and Charlie McAvoy coming back. So it's a Wednesday night game, a rare one for the Panthers because, of course, Thanksgiving is on Thursday. And then they welcome the St. Louis Blues to town on Saturday, where despite the St. Louis Blues bad start to their season, they're on a 6-game winning streak right now. So it does not get any easier for the Panthers, as they're right now. I hate to say this, they are right now a mediocre hockey team at this moment in time.
Yeah, the Blue Jackets have a little bit of an easier path. They've got Montreal on Wednesday. They just beat them on Thursday. They again, not a very good game for either team. It was very much a kind of free for all. So I would hope for a little bit less of that in the upcoming game, but definitely a much easier opponent than Boston, who I fully was expecting Boston to be bad this season, and they've done the opposite of the Blue Jackets, which is they've gone not the opposite necessarily, but they've done a kind of, I think, what the Blue Jackets are doing, but bigger, where they've gone, all our stars are missing, cool, we're gonna go like 15-3 to start the season, or 16-3, or whatever their record is right now. I do not envy the Panthers with that, but on the flip side, if there was ever, I hate the concept of like must win games, or this is a game that you can't lose, and a benchmark game or whatever. But if there was ever a game where the Panthers were going to show up big against Boston, feels like a pretty good way to get back on track, because sometimes all you need is one win against a bad team, and that like boosts your confidence. Sometimes all you need is a dirty, scrappy, like ugly win against a team like Boston, and that again can be a real kind of springboard for the Panthers to kind of refine their season. Because I know what you said. This is not they're playing mediocre hockey right now. I don't think this is a mediocre team. You look on paper again: Sasha Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart, like Aaron Ekblad's finally healthy for the first time in I feel like years, and it's they lost players, they lost Huberdeau, they lost Uyghur, but this is a good team on paper. And I think it's very much a team that can figure it out and keep going, and a team that honestly, they're out of the playoff spot. They're out of the playoff picture right now, but I would be very surprised to see the Panthers miss the playoffs this season.
Mm. It would definitely be a disappointing one, and I I'm really going to really elaborate more on really the state of the Panthers really on Monday, on Tuesday and Wednesday show, as we have days off in between. Is like, where are they? Are they in a great position to continue going on a run? But yeah. And the Boston Bruins, even though this will be a home game for the Panthers, the Boston Bruins are one home win away from setting the record for most home wins to start the season. The Panthers had that opportunity last year against the Seattle Kraken in November, same week, Thanksgiving, and then they lose against as Chris Drieger made his return to Sunrise, Florida, after signing with the Seattle Kraken, and come out with a win on that one. So I think we might be seeing a very desperate Panthers team come Wednesday night, because even the last time they faced against the Boston Bruins on the road, like, it was only the third game of the season for the Panthers. Brandon Montour missed that game. Only a one game absence for Montour. And Aaron Ekblad, that was the very same game that Aaron Ekblad went down with his grade 2 groin strain. And the Panthers, in the beginning of the season, they only could have 20 players on their team due to cap reasons. Keith Yandel's buyout is still on the books for them. A lot of it comes off after this offseason, which kind of a reason why the Panthers are where they are as far as these 1-year deal signings. I mean, the Stalls being a part of the team as well, and all for it to reset next season. But even in that game against the Boston Bruins, I mean, you play four defensemen throughout the latter part of the game, and they still made it close. I mean, I know they have their big pieces back now, so these are going to be two completely different hockey teams when they do face. But if that performance the first time around for the Panthers is anything like we might see on Wednesday, then I have a really good feeling that the Panthers could come out on top on Wednesday night. It's gonna you're gonna I think the Panthers really got to come out really desperate in this one, because you do not want to fall behind early, because this isn't like last year where the separation between the wild card teams and the last playoff spot is like 30 points by the end of the season. I don't think it's going to be like that this time around.
No, for sure. It feels very much like I have a feeling that this season is going to be one of those ones where the playoff spots don't get decided until the last week of the season. Like, I would be very surprised if there's not teams still playing hockey and hoping to make the playoffs in, game 80 or game 81. And hopefully for you guys, that's not the Panthers. I don't think the Blue Jackets are making the playoffs this year, but it is what it is. It sucks, but there's always next year,
Yeah, and there's still a whole bunch of talent on that Columbus Blue Jackets team. I mean, I really like Cole Sillinger. I really like Kent Johnson, especially from watching him in the most recent World Junior Championship as well. So Kent Johnson really is a definite treat to watch for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So there's something there for this team, and of course Lane and Gaudreau. It's just really about being healthy. And also with the chemistry, also with their coach as well, and how that message is spread around the locker room as well. So I think the future for the Columbus Blue Jackets is very well bright for them. It might not be this season, but definitely lots of draft capital will definitely help them out in their future. But Jay, I want to thank you once again for doing this crossover edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. It came with an L on the Panthers side, but I want to do these crossovers with you, whether it's a blowout in favor of the Panthers or a blowout in the favor of the Blue Jackets. So great as always to do a crossover with you, and let my listeners know where they can find you online.
Yeah, like again, always a pleasure. I would do a crossover for every Blue Jackets Panthers game, and in fact, we might because I feel like we have 2 more this season. So, Locked On Blue Jackets listeners should get used to seeing Armando on this podcast when the Panthers are in town. But for Locked On Panthers listeners, you can find Locked On Blue Jackets wherever you get Locked On Panthers. We're on every podcasting app. We are on YouTube. You can find me at _ Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER on Twitter. You can find the show at LO _ Blue Jackets. And I will not do too much gloating about last night's game, I promise.
And yeah, the next time these 2 teams will be facing will be December 13th in Sunrise, Florida, and then the last matchup will be on April 1st in Columbus. So by the way, I want to say congratulations to your English national team on a win against Iran in the first game of the FIFA World Cup. As if you're watching this on the YouTube, I have my USA soccer jersey. Kit. Sorry, let me say that correctly. As we are 3 hours from this recording away from kickoff between USA and Wales. So definitely going to be a fun one. So for the people on the Blue Jackets feed, you can follow me on Twitter at MondoMan12. Follow the show account on Twitter at LO _ FLA Panthers, and you can follow the show on Twitter. You can follow the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and you could follow us as well on YouTube. Help us get more subscribers on the YouTube channel so you could see my pretty face and you could see Jay's pretty face as well every time we do a crossover. So Jay, thank you once again, and I will see you next time. All right,
for sure. And that's all I've got for you today. Tomorrow, we are going to be taking a little bit of a deeper dive into the Blue Jackets goaltending stats. And is it bad goaltending or is it bad defense? That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And thank you for listening, for making this your first listen of the day. Every day, Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and also over on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe. It helps me out. It helps you out. Everybody wins. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.